You don't need to know anything about real estate to buy or sell real estate. You really don't. But I'm going to explain what you might want to know or should know buying here in Santa Cruz County. Hi, I'm Michele Replogle, Coldwell Banker Realty. And I get a lot of calls. I get buyer calls, I get seller calls, I get people who have ideas about real estate. And it could be that maybe they're looking too much online and not getting down to the basics of what would really help them be successful in their endeavor of trying to buy or sell. You know, going on Zillow and Realtor.com and just the internet or YouTube, maybe you found me there. You think, oh, I can just look at all this stuff and I can find the back door to that market. There's a way to get in there, and I don't have to pay these high prices. I'm going to figure it out. So the first thing I would get a call on, I guess I would say the most I get a call on is, well, I want to buy some land and then I want to put a house there. And, I realize that in a lot of areas throughout our country, you can do that. And I'm not saying you can't do it here. It's just difficult. And if anything, it's not the easy way in to Santa Cruz. It's actually one of the hardest ways in and could be the costliest. Let me give you a quick example. I had a buyer. They wanted to buy some land out in South County, close to the ocean. It was a hilltop property. And we walked up it. We didn't get all the way, we didn't get all the way to the actual place the pad would be, but we went way out there and we checked it all out, and it looked kind of good, but it was super rough and there were no utilities to pull. The electrical was a bit down. So no, with land, you're going to have utilities pulled, right? That means brought to the property, and it's difficult. But this particular area was also a protected area where the Coastal Commission had a layer over all the permits that said it was a special septic area. So that's kind of, your sewer. So there's barely electricity. The water situation with the well is unknown. And then you got to figure out how to get rid of your waste. Super difficult. So you have buying the land, which is hard to get a loan on. And I'm not going to talk about that here. And then getting a construction loan, which is also very difficult to do. And I'm not going to talk about that here either. Those are just things that aren't the easy route. But then think about the building. So building and planning is super impacted because of the fires a couple of years ago. It's just not the easy way into the market. It's just not. Then there's a mobile home park at the end of Delaware in our coveted 95060 zip code on the west side of Santa Cruz, which everybody just really wants to be. It's near the beach and it's just a beautiful spot. And the mobile homes are, I think they're in the low 200,000s now. So you'll see those come across the internet and it's like, here's my way I can get in. It's super cheap. And then they find out the space rent is like 2,200 all the way up. I think it's 6,000-7,000. I think it can get the closer you get to the ocean. But that's not a backdoor to our market either, because those space rents are high because you're oceanfront. That's what oceanfront costs. If you had a home on the edge of the, ocean, the Pacific Ocean, here in Santa Cruz, it's not cheap. And that mobile home park is basically an example of what it would cost. And it's a little slice of it. Then I want to buy a small house up in the hills, but I don't want to be near the fires. Well, in the hills is in the trees, and that's where we had some of our fire danger. Then I have taken very nice people, and I don't want this to seem like I am digging on anybody who wants to try to buy property here. I am just saying that when you understand more about the market, or you work with somebody who understands the market, you'll understand the complexity, or is that a word? How hard and complex it is to buy here in Santa Cruz. And you might get lucky and find somebody who's willing to sell you some great house for not a great price. And oh my gosh, I'm sure it happens. It's like winning the lottery, and it is a unicorn. Overall, it's not an easy market to buy in. And sometimes the more you know, actually, the harder it is, because you're looking at all the websites, and you're hearing these stories possibly, and you're thinking, you're going to be able to sneak in, and it's just not that easy. So let me go back to the example of buying a house up in the trees. And I was working with this buyer. She was super nice. And we had fun looking at properties, but we went and looked at a few that were really cheap, and they were awful. I mean, they were just awful. I just don't even know if that hillside or that wet gulch should have had homes. Maybe they should just be restored to forest lands. It was just wet, and the house was beat and dilapidated. And honestly, I'm glad she didn't like it. I really wouldn't have felt comfortable selling it to her. It would have been a property I would have worried about her during storms. So my point is, you don't need to know anything. And it may be better that you learn about the process of buying and selling, and you understand working with an agent that understands all the nuances of the market. But I repeat myself about that, getting somebody who really understands it. But I'm going to give you one more example. If you were even a buyer or a seller, understanding the market, because last year was a completely different market. And what a local agent who does enough or a lot of business in a market is, they know the current market. So last year, if you had a property for sale, you could expect, if you cleaned it up a bit, got some inspections reports, and did your disclosures, you could have a buyer come in, say, I am going to give you more than you want, and I'm not going to ask you to do anything on your property. And I'm going to read all your inspections and reports, might ask a few questions, but I'm going to buy it completely as is. That was last year. I would say that might have even been January or February of this year. But now we are in a market where the buyer can maybe take a little time to research the property, get a loan, even have an appraisal contingency, because things have changed. So when I say there's no backdoor to the market, you don't need to know anything, and now the market's changed, that just points to understanding that you really want to work with somebody who can guide you through what is going on now, how you can do it, and, maybe give you a realistic approach. And then if you're flexible, which I say so many times in videos, on location, because that's probably going to be what will determine the price you pay, of course, and then the size and the amenities in that area. If you can kind of grab all that, boy, I just don't have a lot of great words today, do I? If you can kind of distill all that, put that in a little bottle of how you want to enter the market with a professional or someone who really knows it, you can be successful. And you really still, if you have a good pre-qualification letter, you have good finances, or if you have a home that's been pretty well taken care of, you really can just call an agent and say, I'm ready to do this, let's do it. You wouldn't really have to know a whole lot. And at that point, you're really just going to know processes and protocols and how it's done. I hope that helped you. Please like, share, and comment, and follow me on Twitter. I post stuff about Santa Cruz there, so you'll find some stuff from Santa Cruz there. And then my Instagram is just videos about real estate and local features of Santa Cruz, which I absolutely love. And then, of course, follow me on YouTube here, subscribe, and I will give you more information about what I'm seeing. But this video was really helping you to understand there's really just no backdoor or secret way in. And I hope I accomplished that, and I hope you liked it. Thanks. Bye.